Streaming only on Peacock.
John Wayne Gacy killed 32.
Straight from the killer's mouth.
They want you to believe that I alone committed these murders.
The new gripping 6-part documentary series, John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
It makes a difference when a community gets thousands of new jobs. It makes a bigger difference when all of those jobs pay more than double the federal minimum wage. All Amazon employees make at least $15 an hour. Employees aren't the only ones who experience the impact of our starting wage. Neighbors like Sylvia and Francois of Sylvia's Cafe in Opelika, Florida, feel the impact of that extra spending money. See their story at aboutamazon.com/15.
In my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry, which you can get at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, with a contribution to Freedom Watch of $50 or more, which helps us do our work, our citizens' grand juries, which we have today at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're indicting Ilham Omar. In that book, I explain what was the straw that broke the camel's back with my regard to any faith in our federal judicial system in particular. It was Judge Royce Lamberth who made good rulings for me during the 1990s, early 2000s with regard to the Clintons. As I said in the book, it was basically a dog and pony show. Lamberth's from Texas. Obviously, George W. Bush was trying to run for the presidency. He was political. I mean, he perhaps believed in what he was doing, but he allowed me to conduct a dog and pony show at Judicial Watch with regard to the Clintons, but he never went the extra mile to put them away. And he had the opportunity to do that. It was basically just a show. And I say that in retrospect. Now, I still had faith in this judge to some extent. He's helped me out in other respects. I consider him to be a friend. We've met many times and talked when we no longer had cases. But what he did with regard to Sheriff Joe Arpaio was really the final straw with me. Is the sheriff had been defamed by CNN, by Rolling Stone and Huffington Post as a felon when he had simply been found liable for a misdemeanor for going into day worker sites, as his deputies did, and profiling illegal immigrants. I mean, where are you going to find illegal immigrants but day worker sites? But that being said, even if it was a technical violation, which he refuted, and for which he was pardoned by President Trump, it didn't justify CNN, Rolling Stone, and Huffington Post, and Chris Cuomo branding my client as a felon nationally and internationally. They knew he was not a felon. They had followed him closely. They were trying to get President Trump by trashing him over enforcing immigration laws in Maricopa County, the biggest county in the United States, Arizona. So they knew what they were doing, and clearly there was actual malice. They knew it was false when they branded him a felon, or they acted with reckless disregard for the facts. Lamberth threw the case out with no justification. I went back to him and I said, Your Honor, there's another judge out there who let a case go forward when a plaintiff was called a felon when he was only convicted of a misdemeanor. Reverse your decision. He would not do that. So that's when I lost my total faith in the federal judiciary. This was the last judge out there in practice at this time. Others had retired. I like Judge Stanley Sporkin, but he's now retired, that I had any faith in. Fast forward to yesterday. Lamberth blasts those people that were in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, effectively calls them traitors. Go out on the internet right now and see what he said. Basically saying that anyone who entered into the Capitol or was anywhere near the Capitol was a white domestic terrorist. That's basically what he's saying. And criticizing even the lukewarm support that the protesters got from certain Republican congressmen. This, to me, is an outrage. The American people are now living under the hammer and sickle. They're living under a Gestapo-type FBI and Justice Department, which is doing the bidding of Biden and Harris and the left, terrorizing people. If there's anyone who are terrorists, it's the FBI and its Justice Department currently. They are trying to cement the total leftist hold on this country, the dictatorship which we are now in, and they are trashing the countryside, rounding up anybody who was in Washington, D.C., are going to talk to them, having turned their friends in. I know I've got clients in this regard. I'm not going to name names right now because it's sensitive. I'm defending them in a criminal defense capacity. We may go public at a certain point. We may do other things and assert legal rights for having violated constitutional rights. But for Lamberth to do that, you got to go out and read this. It tells you what state the country is in. A total leftist takeover, a total corruption in all three branches of government without a federal judiciary that will protect the people. And that's why we have our Third Continental Congress on July 5th and 6th in Philadelphia to discuss whether we need to declare independence again and what we need to do to shore up our constitutional rights. We're going to have very noted people there. Go to freedomwatchusa.org and sign up and participate. If you're a student or a veteran, you'll get in free. Otherwise, we ask for a contribution to let us do our work. It's very expensive. We're doing it at Independence Hall in the Visitor Center with a backdrop of Independence Hall. This is where it all began. This is where the United States began on July 4th, 1776. And it's where we want to take a new government back. This government is not by and for the people. As it says in the Declaration of Independence, when the so-called government no longer represents the people, under the laws of nature and nature's God, they have a right to alter or abolish that government and to form a new government by and for the people with equal rights for everyone in pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. This is what we must now do again, because when a judge like Royce Lamberth sells out to the establishment, is worried about more his own skin than worried about the skin of the American people, because these judges are fearful that they're next. I will never advocate violence against anyone, much less a federal judge. But they fear that they're next because the people know that they have broken away from them. And as Jefferson said, unelected, unaccountable to the people, federal judges will become despots and tyrants, causing the blood to shed of patriots and tyrants yet again every 20 years. He added, what's a few thousand dead to refresh the tree of liberty? Jefferson did not want to see anybody dead. He didn't want to see anybody hurt. Neither do I. Neither do the people around me. But he was predicting the inevitable. And when you see a judge who at one time was a decent judge turn, take a dive, become the tool, the lackey of the Washington, D.C. swamp and establishment, then you know just how dire straits we exist in today and how Jefferson's prophecy will come to pass unless we, the people, rise up peacefully and legally in our Third Continental Congress and other things that we must do to save this country, including our citizens' grand juries. And we have another session today at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We're going to indict Ilhan Omar. We've already indicted Robert Mueller. We've indicted Joe Biden, his son Hunter, his brother James for massive bribery from communist China, Ukraine, and Russia. We must now bring back liberty and freedom to our shores. We must create our own legal system under the laws of nature and nature's God, as our founding fathers did. And we must do it quickly. And you must turn off Sean Hannity. People like that. Get to work. Stop being entertained, because this country is 99% gone. Now, with God's help, with the divine providence, as our founding fathers invoked, we can save this country. But remember, the God, the Father, and the Son will only help those that help themselves. If not, we will go the way of other civilizations who have since perished. We've been in existence for only 245 years. Our Third Continental Congress is on that anniversary. We are destroying ourselves in a period much shorter than it took the Roman Empire, which took over 1,000 years to hit the skids and go under. This is where we are. Do you want a country that is a communist hellhole, totally controlled by the left with no federal judiciary, much more the Supreme Court that will protect you? Do you want your kids and grandkids to live in that kind of a world? Think it through, because you may have a good time now going to play golf, playing tennis, having a scotch, smoking a cigar, sitting on the couch, thinking about the good old days, but the good old days are gone. Now we must move forward and resurrect this country from the dead. God bless you. God bless your family. Try to stay safe, but think about it. We need your help. Go to freedomwatchusa.org, sign up for our Third Continental Congress, support our citizens' grand juries, and get active, because if you don't, all is gone. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Until then, thank you for listening to me.
When you want something now, later won't cut it. Download GoPuff now and order in seconds for delivery in minutes, all for a flat fee of $1.95. GoPuff, make now good.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Affiliates. Price and